Hi, this is a video about making a form building mud for casting concrete. This is the mud that I use, and you can use it in a few different ways. You can make a smooth walled form. The mud's pretty soft today, pretty wet. If you wanted to have it be more firm, just leave it uncovered for a day or two and mix it occasionally, and it'll get nice and firm because of the high clay content. You can use it to embed textured materials. So if I cast in this would be the texture of the outside of the concrete. And you can also use it to stamp. It's not working. Awesome. If it were a little drier, this would work a little better. I'll show you and we'll go back to the small pot at the end, and I can show you the piece I used a stamp to make. So here is some that's a little drier along the edge. You can see how the texture is a little more workable for carving. And then when you pour concrete into it, you'll have some of an organic surface, like a soft surface, but also you can, make marks. And so this is how you make it. This is some terracotta clay that a friend gave me, and it had dried out considerably. So I re-moistened it by just putting it in a bucket with water for a few days and let it get soft again. Since I'm not going to make ceramic objects with it that I'm firing, I don't really care about introducing contaminants or getting the moisture just right, air bubbles or any of that. So you just add clay to your dirt. This dirt is pretty powdery. It's left over from screening out some rocks in my yard. So you just add water to this. Get it nice and wet. And I'll probably take about a week to introduce all of this clay into the dirt. The clay will get softer and softer, and slowly you'll be able to mix them together. This is a pretty high dirt ratio, a little bit higher than the mud that I was showing you earlier. So this will eventually become a nice, workable, combined mixture. So I wanted to show you also this pot. This is hypertufa, which is a mixture of concrete and peat and vermiculite. And I wanted to use these partially rotted boards for the exterior texture, which was not necessarily that successful, but I wanted to just demonstrate. As you can see here, I used just straight loose terracotta clay as sort of a glue to attach the boards to the inside of a cardboard box. And then I wrapped the cardboard box in rope, made a void filled with rocks, and then filled the channels with hypertufa. So you can still see some of the clay there. So clay on its own actually is very useful also as a concrete form. And when your concrete or your hypertufa is firm or dry, it's so easy to remove this material. It just comes off in big chunks, and it's a little bit dry, so you just put it back in your container and add some water, and you can use it again. So this pot I have a round-backed paintbrush, and I actually made it in the bin we were just looking at. I just created the sides with a thick layer of the clay and dirt mixture, I fabricated a little void to make this space, and then I took my round paintbrush back and poked into the clay to make each one of these nodules. And then, you know, when you pour in the concrete, it of course fills those voids and makes the pattern. It's soft at the top, so, you know, learning from my mistake, next time I'll be more careful about how the top is finished, because I'm not particularly fond of this lip, but that's it. Thanks for watching.